Cecil MacDonald and this is Hound, and welcome to our Wonder World. Today, we'll show you the vanishing curious art of taxidermy and we'll sharpen our skills with the world's best wood-chopping axemen. And Jodie Young will meet the man who makes the king of instruments. But first, let's come back to boomerangs. Aborigines started to use them 10 or to 30,000 years ago to catch their dinner. But since then, they've developed it into a recreational sport. Boomerangs come in all sorts of colours and shapes, so you can get the most amazing boomerangs perfectly tailored to suit your needs. Here's reporter Pascal Fox throwing her own boomerang.
No, I don't think I'll try that again. Excuse me, yours, I believe?
It is.
What are you doing?
We're having boomerang lessons.
Oh, fantastic. Can I have a go?
You sure can. We'll make you a fair dinkum Aussie.
I did it once already.
OK, well, we'll show you the right way now.
Thing. How do I hold it?
OK, Pascal, you hold on to it by the end. You must have the flat side of the boomerang away from you. This front side has got a trailing edge and leading edge like the wing of an aeroplane, and you can hold it actually at either end, provided that you've got that flat side away from you.
So the curve can be outwards or
inwards. Now, the first thing you've got to do is find out where the breeze is coming from. And we do that by either flicking your finger or dropping a piece of grass. Piece of grass gives you the wind direction, face the breeze, and then throw off to the right of the breeze about 60 to 90 degrees off from the breeze.
OK.
And then you aim it at the horizon, so a little bit higher than your eyes ahead. You spin it straight ahead towards the horizon.
Yeah?
OK. Watch out, Pascal.
Wow!
Oh! Ha ha!
Oh. Look at that. That is ridiculous. Now, that would never fly. Useless. Get rid of that. Oh! Now, boomerangs don't have to be just curved. They can be any shape, and the best thing about them is the patterns. Like, look at this. Meow! Meow! And, oh, look at this one. Meep, meep. No, 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 no. Batman! Oh, and there's always this one. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Not all boomerangs were meant to return. Especially mine. The Aborigines perfected the boomerang just as a hunting weapon, but the returning boomerang is used mainly for fun and competitions. Woo! Woo! Throwing it's only half of it. What about the catching?
Well, catching is very important. Number one thing to remember is try to always catch it lower than your neck, because your face and eyes are the things you must be careful of. So you wait till it comes down to about waist height, put your hand out and your other hand like a crocodile's mouth, which snaps down on top. So a quick snap of a crocodile's mouth and you've got it. The spin stops, you don't get hurt. If you miss it, you don't get hurt either.
Okay? Let's have a practice.
Right. Snap.
Traditionally, boomerangs are made of carved wood, but you can make your own indoor boomerang easily. Just cut out 2 pieces of oblong cardboard, colour them in, just the way you like them, put a rubber band on, just like this, and whee! Well, that's about the simplest way to make a boomerang, and I think I've got the smallest. A flickerang. So, shape, weight and size are variable, as long as the basic aerodynamics are right. Well, if trailing edges and leading edges are what it's all about, this one takes the cake.
Yes, this one's got 6 trailing edges and leading edges. That's the trailing edge, which means it slopes back more. Leading edge is steeper, just like the wing of an aeroplane. So it's virtually 6 aeroplane wings all flying around.
Wow, fantastic colours.
So we'll show you that one. Let me get this.
Well, I can make this come back. I only wish I could make my dog come back. Too bad. He's gone. I'm going to call my next one Boomerang.
Well, the first Queensland comp, 1981. And this was where Rod Jones does his very first throwing competition ever, Tone. So first here we are at Mudgereeba. Field was a bit rough. Bob Burwell getting all the prizes ready.
Was Bob who introduced Rod to it, wasn't it, initially?
I think Les Rod Jones throwing now. Yeah, no, well, Les Jones was the one who actually got him into it. You'll see Les throwing shortly. This is our Aboriginal thrower, Joe Skian. Threw a natural timber boomerang, very heavy in the windy conditions. And here's Barry Forsyth's son, Ian, also a left-hander like Barry. Conrad Stacey was throwing at this competition too. He's just designed a computer boomerang. It's always interesting to watch the foot action and the hands after someone's thrown. I think that gives them their particular style. Here's Les Jones. I believe the two of them got into it as a result of a discussion in a pub as to who could make a boomerang and get it to come back. This is Rod now. His style will be refined over the years.
Yes, it's interesting when people start, they tend to put a lot more power into it than is necessary, and then you find that you can overcome that with better wrist action.
Joe Skian, our Aboriginal thrower here, is just a nice effortless flick. This was Debbie, a girl who was working at the Hawes Boomerang Farm, and she actually won the maximum time aloft event that we had that time. And then we come to Hawes's farm. He actually had just sold it 12 months prior to this. Peter Tomlinson had taken the management of it. He has a special field made out. Here's the field where people can go and throw boomerangs, and spectators can stand inside a wire cage and watch. His own Sydney Harbour Bridge.
It was a Hawes boomerang was the very first one I ever owned.
Yes, it was the first one I got to fly too. Here I am flying one of them straight out of the shop actually, because I didn't bring any boomerangs along, and I just got this one from his shop, and you can see it flies very good, very, very well.
They're still producing the M17s, that was the one I threw first up?
Yes, they are. They're now called Stones Throw Boomerangs. It's Lauren Hawes's daughter, Jenny, who's actually with her husband, Jim, making them now. Here's Bob Burwell with his first of his lazy sevens.
Yeah, it was a very successful model, wasn't it? Because it was a departure from Bob's regular straight-arm ones.
Yeah. This is my first meeting with Lauren Hawes. I'd corresponded with him for years from when I first started. About 9 years previously, I bought my first boomerang. And we'd corresponded through the years, and I'd never actually met the man until now. Peter Tomlinson was with him then. Lauren's got a short, jerky action, as you'll see.
He was an atomic physicist, wasn't he?
He was, that's right. Here's one of the rare misses of Bob Burwell on a catch in his early days of throwing. Went down to another park and he's throwing a 6-blader here, I think. Catches it on the arm. His daughter Melissa is there with a walkie-talkie to make sure that he throws in the right direction too. Had Lauren trying out some of our new models. And young Melissa, she's now a young lady working.
There's that characteristic skip of the right leg forward that Bob has.
Yes. This is a slow motion shot. The Burwell action. Has a very flat throw, doesn't he?
Yes. But then a lot of his boomerangs are thicker than most too, so they can stand that. Because a lot of the thinner ones would just bomb.
Yeah. Well, I was lucky enough to win that first Queensland comp and had the beautiful lady present me with the trophy. We took our leading Sydney junior thrower up there, Paul Heath, and
oh, yes.
Paul went away with a swag of trophies, as you can see. Sadly, we've lost Paul to boomerang throwing because of his studies. He's at university now and doesn't have time for throwing. It's Bob's house, south of Brisbane, at Tanamera.
Yes, you mentioned Paul. I remember he was actually designing his own boomerangs, very successfully too.
Yes,
some good ones.
I must say I was quite afraid of him when he was going to move into the seniors. It would be very hard to toss. Well, of course, you don't get to Brisbane any easy way. I had to fly up, and this is leaving Brisbane. Travelling to competitions is certainly a big part of competition. When you're planning a competition, you've got to allow time for people to get there and to get home. It is one of the factors that stops many throwers attending competitions because they can't afford really to take the time off or even just the money to get the fare to go to these competitions.
Well, I can remember in 1976 when Bob Burwell came down to Albury in the train with his big boomerang over his shoulder, in the train all the way. It's a problem, the distance we have.
It's a big country, Australia. A lot of people aren't aware, I think, of the distances between our capital cities. And many of our competitions, of course, were held at Albury in these early years. And people travelled from Melbourne and Sydney to Albury. Melbourne throwers had 700 kilometre trip. Sydney people about, 800 kilometres.
Do you remember how he changed from having the national titles in Canberra to Albury?
Yes.